What's going on, CK Nation? It's your boy, the Boss Man CK, and on today's episode of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle, we're taking another trip down track history lane as we go down and go to a most prominent, forgotten about place right here in North Carolina. If you've ever attended the North Carolina State Fair, you probably rocked right across from one of NASCAR's most historic racing venues without even realizing it. Today, families come here for rides, concerts, livestock shows, and some of the best fair food in the South. But long before Ferris wheels filled the skyline, this place echoed with the sound of roaring V8 engines. And then on today's episode, we're going back in time to tell the story of a speedway that hosted the final dirt track race in NASCAR Premier Series and helped launch the career of racing legends and become one of North Carolina's forgotten treasures. So, we're all gassed, no brakes, full throttle for Kyle, and let's go visit State Fairgrounds Speedway in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Cheap seats, shaking the ground with these deep bass beats. Got a light bar on top, turn the night into day. City slicker see us coming and get out of the way. They're sipping on lattes, we're cracking the cold one. Life in the fast lane, now we're just having more fun. They talk about they high rise, I talk about my lift kit. One look at this lifestyle and you know you're gonna dig it. Yeah, they love the way.
Alright, so to understand the speedway, we have to first understand the fairgrounds themselves. The North Carolina State Fair has roots dating back to the mid-1800s. Its mission was simple: showcase the state's agriculture, industry, and innovation. And in 1928, the fair officially moved to its current home in West Raleigh. Like many fairgrounds across America, the new grounds included a half-mile dirt oval. Originally, the track wasn't built strictly for just automobile racing. Horse racing, exhibitions, and demonstrations were common attractions at county and state fairs throughout the country. But it didn't take long before race promoters realized something. People loved watching automobiles race. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, local drivers from across North Carolina and neighboring states arrived with homemade race cars built in garages, barns, and small town repair shops. These weren't even $1 million teams like you see now. These were mechanics, farmers, military veterans, mill workers, ordinary people just chasing extraordinary speed. Every weekend, the grandstands filled with spectators eager to witness machines sliding sideways through the Carolina dirt. Now, if you ever watched dirt track racing, you're missing one of the purest forms of motorsports. Unlike paved tracks, dirt changes constantly. Like I've said before on other broadcasts. One day the dirt could be handled in one way and not be slippery and be sticky or thick. The next day, if rain comes in or anything like that, or they water it down a certain way, it could be totally different grip, totally different atmosphere. Early in the afternoon, the racing surface might be tacky and smooth, like I said. As the race goes on, the sun dries the clay. Dust begins to rise, rust forms, the racing groove moves higher and higher. Drivers have to search for grip in every lap. You don't simply point the steering wheel, you steer with the throttle. The rear tires spin, the cars slide through the corner, and the driver counter steers to stay pointed in the right direction. It takes incredible skill. That's why so many NASCAR legends started out on dirt. It teaches car control that can easily be learned anywhere else. State Fairgrounds Speedway became known as one of the Southeast's premier dirt tracks because it rewarded patience, courage, and experience. When Bill France Sr. founded NASCAR in 1948, Tracks exactly like Raleigh's Fairgrounds Speedway formed the backbone of the new organization. NASCAR wasn't built on giant speedways. It was built on local tracks where communities gathered every weekend, like we talked about when we visited Greenville Pickens Speedway. The State Fairgrounds Speedway became one of those important stops. Fans packed the grandstands. Drivers traveled hundreds of miles pulling race cars behind pickup trucks. The prize money wasn't huge. I mean, when we say it wasn't huge, I mean that's what we mean. Like there was times that, you know, you could get $200-$300, and that might go into fueling your truck back up to get you home from wherever you're coming from, plus fixing your ride or fixing your car. You never know. It wasn't a lot of payout like it is today. Some weekends, racers would compete at one track on Saturday night, then drive through the night to compete somewhere else on Sunday afternoon. That was life during NASCAR's early years. One of the biggest races held here came in 1955 when NASCAR Grand National Series arrived. Some of the biggest names in stock car racing competed on this little dirt oval. The atmosphere was electric. Fans stood shoulder to shoulder, hoping to catch a glimpse of future legends. Throughout the 60s, stars such as Richard Petty, Junior Johnson, David Pearson, Bobby Allison, Leroy Yarborough, James Hilton, Cale Yarborough all raced at dirt tracks like this one. Back then, versatility mattered. Drivers couldn't just specialize in just one type of racing. One week they might race on dirt, and the next week they'd be on asphalt. Then a short track, then a super speedway. The best drivers could adapt anywhere. Imagine arriving at the fairgrounds on race day in Raleigh in 1969. Cars line both sides of the road. Families are carrying lawn chairs and picnic baskets. Children are waving miniature checker flags. The smell of barbecue fills the air, and mechanics work frantically beneath open hoods. Drivers laugh with fans before climbing into the race cars that they have no power steering, very little safety equipment, and engines producing incredible horsepower. And when the green flag waves, everything changes. Engines roar, dust fill the air, fans stand to their feet, the sounds of echoes across the fairgrounds. For the next 2 or 3 hours, nothing else matters because it was racing at its purest. By 1970, though, unfortunately, NASCAR was changing. New paved tracks offered higher speed. Television wanted clearer racing surfaces. Manufacturers invested more money. And the sport was becoming increasingly professional slowly. And the dirt tracks started to disappear. Then came September 30th, 1970. The North Carolina State 200, where Richard Petty crossed the finish line first. No one realized history had just been made because it was the official final dirt track race in NASCAR's premier series for more than 50 years. An entire chapter of stock car racing ended one afternoon in Raleigh. Think about that. Of every dirt track in America, State Fairgrounds in Raleigh, North Carolina became the last one to run. That's a remarkable piece of motorsports history. And it really is when you think about it. Just like when we talked about last week at Greenville, when we talked about how it introduced us to NASCAR television. They broadcasted the first Cup Series race out there. Today, the racing is gone, but the history remains. The Sam G. Rand grandstand still overlooks part of the property. I've seen it. It's still there. Historical markers tell visitors what happened here. If you know where to look, you can still imagine the old half mile. You can almost hear the engines. You can picture Richard Petty sliding through turn 1. You can imagine thousands of fans cheering and packed into the grandstands. Places like this remind us that history isn't always preserved in museums. Sometimes it's hidden right in plain sight. And yes, I've been out there because, one, I do live in North Carolina. Two, it's where the state biggest flea market's held at, on the state fairgrounds itself. Plus, if you're from around this area, you know about Dorton Arena, which is on the fairgrounds. So, I've seen it. I've even drove, I wouldn't say on the track, but where they paved and put the parking lot out there today, I've drove on it and imagined, okay, we're going through turn 1, turn 2. And some people don't know it. When they look, though, there is still part of history with it, because the whole front stretch that went in front of the grandstand, dirt, is still there. Because they do still use it for tractor pulls, and I believe sometimes monster trucks, and sometimes demolition derby. So, I mean, like, the evidence of it, of the Fairgrounds Speedway, is still there today. All we have to do is go look at it. It's there. And a lot of people don't know about it. Honestly, I'll be real. Until I went out there, I didn't know about State Fairgrounds Speedway. And then I seen it and I was like, man, this is another lost speedway as we categorize it. Wonder how much history is here. The State Fairgrounds Speedway wasn't Daytona. It wasn't Charlotte. It wasn't Talladega. But without tracks like Raleigh, those famous speedways might never have existed. Local tracks give drivers a place to learn. They give fans somewhere to gather on weekends. They help manufacturers improve race cars. They help NASCAR grow from a regional organization into America's premier stock car racing series. Every legendary driver stood on the shoulders of places exactly like this. That's why preserving racing history matters. Not just for famous races, but for the forgotten ones too. So, if you're ever in Raleigh during the North Carolina State Fair, or even just visiting the state fairgrounds for the flea market or any other things that they hold at the Dorton Arena, take a moment and walk the grounds. Look beyond the midway and imagine the dust, the noise, and the excitement that once filled this place. You're standing where NASCAR history was made. So just remember that and keep enjoying the sport and everything that is what brings us to where we are today. I have a close friend that says all the time, we have to learn about it. We have to see history and learn about history to know where we are. He'll know who I'm talking about when he sees this video. But he tells me that a lot. Learning about history helps us realize where we become and where we're at. So remember that. So, again, thank you guys for always liking my videos and watching. Continue to subscribe, continue to build the nation, and continue to enjoy NASCAR while we have it. I'm not saying it's going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. But continue to enjoy it and learn about it and continue to help future generations learn about what we love. So, with that being said, I'm the boss man, CK. Remember, we're all gas, no brakes, full throttle for Kyle, and I will see y'all on the next episode of the CK Motorsports Full Throttle.